She went by dozens of names, but police say Shannon Womack is the real name behind the multi-state nursing fraud scheme. Womack is accused of using 20 aliases and 7 social security numbers to get jobs at nursing homes and rehab facilities, despite her lack of qualifications. Investigators say she stole the identities of real nurses, even setting up a fake staffing agency to hire herself.
So she was picking up the phone and transferring those employment jobs and careers to herself.
In Pennsylvania alone, she was fired from 9 facilities, often after being accused of stealing medication like oxycodone.
She was perpetrating not only a fraud, but not providing the care that was needed.
During a traffic stop, police say she provided 3 fake names. Only after fingerprinting did they uncover her true identity.
Baby, you can't make this up. So the fact that this lady was posing as a nurse is dangerous within itself. The fact that you have people out here who are, and she's not the first one. There's been other cases of women who have posed as pediatric nurses, all types of nurses working in the medical field. They done, swarm their way up in there and faking like doctors and nurses and dealing with real patients is crazy to me. Let's continue.
They say her vehicle was packed with patient logs, drug paraphernalia, and equipment from multiple facilities. At the time, she was wanted in 4 states on charges related to fraud and impersonating a nurse. Officials say she may have started the scheme during the pandemic to take advantage of hospitals in desperate need of nurses.
During that COVID time, they got hit hard and they needed help. So it wasn't uncommon for these different residence locations, agencies to reach out to host agencies and say, we need some extra shifts filled.
The nursing shortage hasn't let up. Nearly 140,000 have left the workforce since 2022. And 40% of those working today say they intend to leave the job in the next 5 years. Womack faces 43 criminal counts and she is due back in court later this month.
Wow. So, this is one of those situations where you're like, I'm still baffled about, how she went about doing this. And I think they really need to get all of the information to see how she was able to infiltrate the hospitals and pose as a nurse. You know what I'm saying? And get in there. And, people, once again, I say, people are doing all kinds of things to thrive and survive these days. There are a lot of people who are doing really well, but then there are a lot of people on the other hand who are struggling to make ends meet, or they're struggling for a lifestyle. There are people who are able to make it, but then there are people who are looking for this certain lifestyle, and they're trying to get it by any means necessary. And I think that the fact that they were saying this started in 2020, where it was a desperate time where they needed a lot of nurses and on staff to help with what was going on, and so it was an easier way to get in there. And I guess at the time people weren't looking too deep into your background or anything like that, but I still think no matter what's going on, I could see that was a vulnerable time and somebody could take advantage of that for sure. But you have to be really, really ingenuitive to be able to get in there and still pose as a nurse to get in there. And I don't know if this lady was if she had any kind of somewhat of a background in nursing or what. Maybe she, had some skill, or did she just not have any skill at all? And what was she doing? And how did she do it? So I know there was some other cases that came out of people pretending to be doctors or nurses or whatever. And also there was one where this person, I think it was a man or several men, they pretended to be plastic surgeons. But these individuals were actually doing surgeries on women. They were actually doing the surgeries using fix-a-flat. They had no idea what they were doing. They had, like I said, a little bit of knowledge of how to do it a little bit, but they were not experienced by law. They didn't have certification in that field whatsoever. And then I think some people lost their lives behind that. I forget exactly where this happened, but there's definitely stories of people who are pretending to be plastic surgeons and were doing surgeries on people for years. And that's my thing, why I'm mind boggled by these types of stories, because I'm like, how could you pretend to be something for years? Maybe they pick up on some things, they learn from other people. That is crazy to me. And they just in there getting paid, doing different procedures, and don't have the skills or the certifications or anything to be in there doing. They're not licensed whatsoever. and they could just find their way up in there, ease, squeeze right up on in there and start pretending like they're some type of doctor and actually do surgeries on people. Is very dangerous and very scary. You know what I mean? Wow, that's scary to me. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that there needs to be better practices put in place to vet these people who are coming in and filling out applications for these positions. You need to really make sure that their resources are credible. You cannot skimp on that, because you just never know. You can't overlook certain things. You really got to make sure these people are who they say they are. First off, you got to make sure they have the credentials. You need to verify them, check it, run it through a scan, whatever you need to do, check with the FBI, the CIA, whoever you need to check with to make sure these people are legit. Because this is crazy. This is very dangerous to have people in here who are pretending to be doctors and nurses and things of that nature in here playing with people's lives. So I thought this story was interesting. So they caught her, and I wonder if they're going to use her to try to help, get information from her to see how she did it so they can prevent others from doing it. They'll do that sometimes. They'll do, when you've been very good at your criminal activity, sometimes they'll use you as a way to to gauge what you did so that they can have better protections for any potential future criminals, and if they try to do the same thing. So I thought this was interesting, y'all, and I think a lot of these stories are interesting also because we always talk about boss chicks and women who are getting to the bag and doing all this, but we never look at the criminal aspect of it. We never look at how a lot of what these women in some cases are doing to achieve that boss chick status, because you just might find that a lot of them are doing criminal activity to get to that boss chick status. A lot of them are dibbling and dabbling in some things that may not be legal in some cases, and we've seen that happen with some of these so-called boss chicks where they get busted. They end up going to jail for fraud and things of that nature. There's fraudulent activity associated with their boss chick status. And then they end up getting caught, and then you realize, oh, this wasn't them really getting to the bag. Y'all was stealing. So this is why when I hear this boss chick stuff, I just ignore it, because I know either it's a scam associated with it or you're lying about what you really make. So listen, let me know your thoughts in the comments below of this particular video. What do you think about these types of scams and fraudulent activities? What do you think about this video? And what do you think about this woman? The fact that she was able to get in and pretend like she was a nurse for God knows how long. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So comment, like, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell to be notified when I upload new content, share and like the video, you guys, and check out my shirt, you guys. Go ahead and support the channel by getting the Ratchicity shirt. I'll put the link to where you can purchase it in the description box. So make sure you support and get you a shirt today, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.